Thank you very much for taking the time out of your very busy schedule to join us today. I hope that you are having a very blessed day. Come on, go live, go live. Oh man. Anyways, I think we're live. We're supposed to be live.
You want me to go check you
So
real quick?
today, huh?
I'll check you real quick.
All right.
Or,
We're supposed to be.
yeah,
It,
I think
I
we're
was
live.
looking and it's like, uh,
I think we're live. Let's
I
see.
don't know anymore.
I know I'm live.
Well, one of us.
One of us is live. Let's see. Hit the
I
refresh
should
button.
be. It's
It says you are waiting. Let me check the thing. No, you're live. It's just delayed. You're live.
oh, okay.
Hi, everybody.
It, it's just weird. Anyways, I'm so sorry. My computer is uncooperative, and sometimes I love it dearly if I didn't need it so much.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hey, man, that's how it goes. That's how it
So,
goes.
anyways, as I was saying, thank you very much for taking time out of your very busy day to listen to us ramble about Noah's flood actually today.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I mean Genesis. Yeah, it's a big book for a reason. There's a lot that goes on. You just
There's a lot more to
So
unpack too.
oh, there is. I mean, especially again, we're going over the Ethiopian translation of Genesis. Which is again 300 years old, not necessarily canonical, but a little bit older than the canonized version of Genesis that we get with the New King James Version, which is one of the versions I'm using. And we're using the Ethiopian translation, the Greek translation, which is Little Genesis. We refer to as Little Genesis. Um, and then I think you have your versions. Oh, okay.
Hi, everybody.
It, it's just weird. Anyways, I'm so Swamp Ginger.
sorry. Hold on one second. I'm double checking to make sure that you're being
He's like, I
heard.
gotta make sure I got him up. And then I think you have. We had him
Your
up and
versions.
everything, and here we are. We spent an hour prepping, and the usual professional amateurs, amateur professional,
Hey,
fake
we're
fake one.
learning. We're learning.
Yeah, yeah, just choose whichever one you want. We're good. We're good.
All right. Your channel is showing live. Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, there it is now. Finally. Oh my goodness. So apparently I've been alive for a whole 2 minutes and 6 seconds, and so like there's 40 seconds of it with me going,
Oh, it's
okay.
Grizzly.
Hey, thank you very much, Grizzly, for stopping by.
So
You're mostly
Grizzlies,
lurking. I don't blame you.
since you're lurking, you should be made aware we're going through three different translations of the Bibles and the non-canons for the cultural perspective of the area.
Yes.
So just
Um,
be aware, and we'll point out when we start talking about, things that are not canonized and the apocryphals that are not canon. They are culturally interesting and lends the insight to the Second Temple period of the Jews, Jews, Gentiles, the Romans, and the Persians.
yes.
See, I do research. I do research, man.
Wow. You must really be bored at work. I mean,
What? What you mean? What? I don't know what you're talking about.
So again, thank you very much. So yeah, and then maybe we'll touch on Babylon, maybe not, because there's a lot there as well, just in that little bit. And definitely once you go from Babel to Abram. So I know which ones are and aren't canon. I enjoy. Personally, enjoy Enoch. Yes, I'm looking forward to the four books of Enoch. Um, few other books I've mentioned repeatedly that I'm like, and this is just the Old Testament stuff.
Oof, I know, right?
Um, yeah, exactly, man.
Before we
The
dig in,
Maccabees.
just so that oh god, my microphone, no, come back. Amateur
Don't spill your
professionals.
coffee on your keyboard again.
I know, right? Amateur professionals, everybody.
Yeah.
To give everyone the scope of what is considered apocryphal, non-verified and non-canon, in terms of biblical texts, not the Bible. There are 225 apocryphal books.
Yes.
And
225 apocryphal, but they do include, when you really get down into it, they do include the Dead Sea Scrolls,
yeah.
or the section which are the Gnostics, which people are familiar with as the Dead Sea Scrolls. Those were the books that were preserved by the Gnostic Christians. I mean, they were pretty much wiped out by the Romans. Jeepers.
Yep.
Pretty much, I think it would be the second revolt, which would be 70 AD.
Yeah, about
So
that.
again, some of these, yeah, around 200 AD. That kind of, I mean, that's a big gap. But then again, so we were looking, and I noticed here in the Ethiopian text, they have a big old chunk on the fall of angels and their punishment,
And the
which would
Ethiopian?
be chapter 5, 1 through 20. Yeah,
Ah.
yeah. They got a decent sized chunk, or at least for my large print Bible. I mean, deal with it. um,
Hmm.
and one of the things I found interesting was, again, and it came to pass when the children of man began to multiply on the face of the earth, and the daughters were born unto them, that the angels of God, and this is I noticed everywhere else it was saying the sons of God as opposed to the sons of man. That the angels of God saw them on a certain year in this jubilee, that they were beautiful to look upon. Now, previously, these were also referred to, apparently, when I was doing a little bit of research here in the Ethiopian, as the Watchers.
Oh, yeah. So the Greek and the Apocryphals refer to them as watchers. Again, this is Second Temple language. He is referring to this section right here.
The interesting part of that was, it goes on to say, they took wives, or they took themselves wives of all whom they chose, and they bore upon them the sons, and they were the giants, and the lawlessness increased. So already we have a bunch of problems.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
just to be clear for everybody, you are currently reading the Greek one, is that correct?
No, this is from the Ethiopian. So it would be the Ethiopian translation, um, which again around 300 AD was, I mean, previous, earlier, I should say. Um, it stopped being counted as canonical around, again, obviously 400, about 400 AD. So a lot of, and this copy I have before me, of course, is pretty much the Old Testament, um, Ethiopian. So I like books. I like to read them. Um, so let's see. Do. On the earth, all flesh was corrupted in its way, alike man, cattle, beasts, birds, and everything that walks on the earth. All of them corrupted uh, their ways and their orders. They began to devour each other, and this is, I think, this is the translation. No, it would be the Greek translation actually, where they referred to the Nephilim were killing somebody, um,
Yep.
and they were killing the Elos, and the Elos were killing men, and the men were killing men on top of, obviously, all the other corruption and evil. All 10 of the, I'm sure all 10 of the commandments were broken constantly. which is interesting because again, even the angels knew the difference between good and evil, as we discussed last week.
Yeah.
Um, when man ate of the apple, man knew. They said, man now knows of us like us.
Hmm.
Um,
Their
so
nature of will
obviously,
creation was different than ours, though.
yeah. They were created on the first day, and they were management.
Management, as every blue
Hey,
collar man just hurls right now.
uh,
There's a clip.
counting. Um, reimagination of thought of all men, thus evil continued. Uh, Got to remember at this time also, and I'm going to say this because I know the New King James has a reference back to it, but also at this time, not only was all of man corrupted and all living flesh, but the earth itself had been corrupted from when um, Cain and Abel.
Yep. Innocent blood.
As it had, yeah, it had said that even the earth had become corrupt at that point. So you can imagine the lawlessness. I mean, it's bad now, but I still feel we're bordering on Sodom and Gomorrah. But at least God can find 10 good men.
Right.
Um, hey, oh, which one? That was that's the Greek one that does that,
Yes.
where you have Abram. Anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. Abram is next week.
Yeah. Abram is
Why?
next week.
Yeah, Abram's gonna be his own little thing. That's why it's like, well, Tower of Babel's pretty big, but you start getting into Abram, and oh my goodness, and just his years.
Yep.
Um, and the three translations that add depth to his life when you merge them together. It's just wow. So we have here, obviously, the earth is 100% wicked. Um, and the judgment of all is ordained and written on the heavenly tablets in righteousness, even the judgment of all those who departed from the path, or yeah, from the path which is ordained for them to walk in. So again, we all have a path to walk, and whether we choose to or not, it's free will. But, there you go. Free will or predestined. Well, no, our paths are predestined. Whether we choose to follow it or not, that's free will. As we can see right here in Genesis, uh, as I was reading.
Well, again, we had this discussion last week, but just to touch up on it for, oh, wow, there's a lot of people hanging out today. To touch up on the predestined conversation we had last week, eh, you're talking about a being who exists outside the confines of time. We call him God. Those who like to mock us, we like to mock you back by referring to him as Sky Daddy. Um, you're talking about God
Sorry,
who
that just makes me
is
laugh.
with you now, is at the beginning, and is at the end. It's less that it's preordained and that he is already there and is there with you at the same time. It's like leaving candy out and telling your kid not to take it off the coffee table. You know the kid's gonna take it, despite you told them not to. They.
Ah, yes. I have a story about Sparrow.
I think we used that story last week,
Yeah, I
actually.
think I used that story last week. So,
But yeah, so when it comes to Noah, like yeah, like the apocryphal, non-canon, and both the translations point out, God was disgusted by the wickedness of the world. And the only salvation for us was the fact that Noah found favor with God. So, thank Noah.
yeah, exactly. We all come from Noah. I mean, we say we could, well, yeah, we all can trace back to Adam because Noah can trace back to Adam. Um, Actually, it's through Enoch too. Anyways,
Yeah, I was about
no.
to say there's a couple of more down the line there.
Yeah, there's a couple more down the line. We went over that last week. I know.
Yep.
Um, but so here we're, in the Ethiopian, you've pretty much got God going. Yeah, we're good. Um, it's also during this time that he found Noah to be the righteous man, and he walked with Noah. Um, tell you, man, it's something that's pretty awesome. Um, so they obviously had conversations. Noah was what, 600 years old when
Yep.
God told him to actually build the ark. Because again, this right here, the downfall, it covers. Let's see, he executed judgment on each. If one gave everything that is on this earth, he will not regret the gifts of or the person of any, nor accept anything at his hand, for he is a righteous judge. And the children of Israel, it has been written and ordained, if they turn on him in righteousness, he will forgive all of their transgressions. Oh, if he turns to him, I was going to say, what the hell? If he turn to him in righteousness, he will forgive all of their transgressions and pardon all of their sins. So again, once I mean, we're told even here, the Jews ain't innocent. It is written and ordained that he will show mercy to all who turn from all of their guilt once each year. And as for those who were corrupted in their ways and their thoughts before the flood, no, darn it, I'm blind as a bat. I'm sorry. No man, no man's person can accept save that Noah alone, for his person was accepted on behalf of his. Ooh, his person was accepted on behalf of his sons, whom God saved from the waters of the flood on his account. So again, the sons aren't exactly innocent, but I'll take them because they're your kids.
Yeah. Okay, see, it shows in our American text over here, that he confirms their covenant with them, after the flood. Like, he's like, you've done what I've told you. Your sons have complied with you, and I will extend my covenant to them and their descendants.
Let's see. So that would be chapter 226.
God confirms his covenant was chapter 9, but starting with chapter 6, you know, uh so in the English and the Ethiopian translation, I actually have this part well, actually that's my anti-vegan stuff. Hold on one second.
Yeah, yeah, we'll get there. Don't worry.
Now we scroll back up, baby.
He's just excited.
I am. So am.
Yeah, all those poor liberals.
All right, 6. Okay, men began to multiply on the surface. Daughters were born to them. God saw men's daughters. They wanted to take them for themselves as wives. My spirit will not strife with man forever, because he is also
This is
flesh.
where,
His
yeah,
days will
that's
be
where he
numbered.
he
Yeah,
decided our lifespans go from 1,000 years to 120.
naturally, without intervention.
Which again, I was kind of like, well, previous to that, I mean, to live for 1,000 years would be kind of interesting. But I keep thinking, who'd want to deal with Biden?
Well, I mean, it kind of goes back to a point you made earlier. What was the aging process of man back then, when God had us hooked up on millennial life cycles?
I know.
You know,
So how old was he at 600? Would he be like an aged 60-year-old man? If
oh,
he's fit, he could still build the ark. If he's got the fitness of what we understand to be a 60-year-old man today.
well, I mean, you got to realize Noah was a farmer.
Well,
This
he
man.
definitely became a farmer after the flood. I'm
Yeah.
not exactly. Well, again,
Well, he had servants, but Noah. It is believed through historical texts that Noah was a farmer beforehand. He had a lot. He had servants before the flood, mind you.
what big farm owner doesn't have farm hands?
Right.
And if you don't have to pay them, all the bet, right? I'm just saying, just saying.
Okay. Look,
Slavery is a human idea, not God's.
this is true, but it is believed by the Jews, not even by just us, even by the Jews. Earth had cleaner air, larger plants, larger animals, etc. before the flood. Yes, this is
Yes.
canonically stated. Yes.
Not only
I want to point out
stated,
that
but
for
spiritually.
lurking, Grizzly is contributing a lot over
Hey.
here.
Well, it's true. Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. The earth was much cleaner. And yet it was still at the same time defiled.
Right.
It was unclean, and that goes back to Adam, where, the earth God says the earth is now unclean.
Yeah.
So you have you I mean, I'm not saying the earth is complete, has a mind of its own and is evil. It's just it wasn't innocent anymore.
Right. Let's
And
see
the
what
reason
these
I'm
were.
pointing that out is because the flood was impartially in the New King James Version, it's implied that the flood was partially to cleanse the earth of the sins of man.
Yes.
So,
And as we pointed out, the Ethiopians love saying God's name. You will not be hearing me
no,
do
no,
that.
that's the Greeks. That's the Greeks.
Look at your screen.
I looked into that. It's the Greeks that like to say it.
Pull up your screen on your screen.
No, no, I'm looking at the screen.
It,
That's the Greek translation, actually.
it says Ethiopian.
It's from an Ethiopia. Yeah, yeah, I know, but they're wrong. Like I said, I did research too. They're wrong. It's the Greeks because it would make sense that the Greeks would also be more willing to use the name of God
Yeah.
because they had so many others and they're coming from a more polytheistic religion into a singular monolithic religion. So they would record, and it because it says that man began to use God's name more. So the Greeks would be the ones to use the name
Right. No,
more,
well,
whereas the
they believe the
Ethiopians
power.
hold it in respect and therefore not want to mention it.
Yeah. I mean, they believed the power of a god was in his name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they called out to Yahweh quite a bit.
Right.
I know. I said it. Oh
It's
well.
okay. I don't
Yeah.
believe saying his name is the problem. It's watering it
No,
down.
it's I like to not use his name. That way when I say stupid things, I
Yeah.
can avoid using his name in vain or,
Like actual vain, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I know it's still a sin, but
Yeah, but still.
he,
But
he apparently he allows for a little bit of arguing on your behalf.
he does, yeah, yeah. But
So,
so as we show both in our US text, because we're getting to one of the parts I'm really excited about. You can see it highlighted in green on the bottom here.
yeah.
Gopherwood.
Yeah.
I get to bring some historical knowledge this time. Yeah, that's right. I
Yep.
have some historical
Yep.
knowledge to contribute.
This time it's actually you. So yeah, I mean, we can move on to because I mean, basically, all three copies kind of
Oh,
go over the wickedness of the Nephilim,
yep.
the sons of man, where we get the giants from, which is also why I'm like interesting. So they weren't all killed, but they were. Oh wait,
We're gonna go over
that
that in a
was
little bit.
I know it gets into the ones that fell that weren't drowned, which it. Which text was it? It was I think was it the Ethiopian?
But
One of the texts, because we were going over a dude who will come up later on.
mhm.
Noah's sons were led astray by evil spirits. Noah's prayer. Ah, there it is. Mastema and the
Yeah,
death of Noah. So we
that
might hit on that today too. Oh my gosh, there's so much more than I'm like, oh yeah, we'll just do this. It'll be quick.
nope,
There's a
nope.
lot.
You were wrong. And
I know we may not actually make it to the end of to the through Noah and his flood tonight.
right.
Oh well, if we have to do a part
Just
two, then we have to do a part two because Mastema is a very interesting character.
right. And we're gonna touch on that real quick before we dive into Noah. Mastema being named and mentioned, by the way, is in
Ethiopian,
the Ethiopian and further described in the Apocryphals. Uh,
yeah,
the Torah and the U.S. Bible, the Jews do First Temple, which is what is canon, does not mention them by name. It is through historical context, Second Temple, and theological research that Mastema's name is brought up. You will not see it in your U.S. Bible, and there are reasons for that. We'll cover all of that when we get there, but just know that that is the case for that notion.
let's see. That's the Greek.
But getting into Noah,
Uh, doo-doo-doo.
Wait, he's doing a thing.
Ah,
Okay, while he does that thing,
yes, I kind of am. I was just kind of,
no, you're good. I'm gonna go on to the part of that while you, because I know you're looking something up. So, but so Lord, like we said, the Lord saw that man's heart was continuously evil, despite the covenants with Adam and everything. As you saw, many people, not just as we read, in the Bible, he kicked all people, not just Adam and Eve, who Eve was named after the exiting of the garden. He kicked them all out, and man's heart was continuously, you know, even after the covenants with God. And this isn't even that long after. Yeah, remember these people lived for like 900 plus years. And their hearts were full of wicked. You know, so the Lord, I will destroy that of which I have created from the surface of the ground, man, along with animals, the creeping things, or as my text shows, the critters that crawl along the earth, which is what most people's Bible will read. Noah found favor in the Lord's eyes. Now, it is important to notice the difference in text here. For I am sorry that I have made them, but Noah found favor in the Lord's eyes. This is the history, and it goes on about the history of the generations of Noah's descendants.
and against, oh, may I? Sorry.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But Noah found grace before the Lord, and against the angels whom he sent upon the earth, he was exceedingly wroth. This is from the Ethiopian text. And he gave commandments to root them out of all of their domains, and he bade us to bind them to the depths of the earth, and behold, uh, they are bound in the midst of them and are kept separate. And went forth, uh, each of their sons went forth a command from before his face that they should be smitten with the sword and be removed from under the heaven. And he said, my spirit shall not always abide on man. Questions. Um, for they are flesh, and their days shall be 120 years. And he sent his sword into the midst, that each shall slay his neighbor, and they began to slay each other till all fell by the sword and were destroyed from the earth. And their fathers were witness of their destruction, and they were bound in the depths of the earth forever until the days of great judgment, when the judgment uh, is executed on those whom were corrupted, uh, or whom have uh, corrupted their ways and their works before the Lord. And he destroyed all from the place, uh, and there was uh, not left one of them who he judged not according to all of their wickedness. Anyways, wow. The angels really pissed. That would be the second war, or that would be the first war in heaven.
Yeah.
Um, right there, where he's just wiping them out even before the flood. But man himself had still been so corrupted that he's just like, yeah, it's just, we're done.
Right. Now, so the end of all flesh bringing our natural lifespans without intervention, God, medical, or surgery, otherwise, to 120 years. He tells Noah to make a ship out of gopher wood. And this is where I actually have historical context, and I get to talk about this now. That's right. Squirrel has a historical context on this one. We set this aside and pull up all my notes real
He's
quick.
been waiting for this.
I have been eagerly awaiting this. Okay, it says gopher wood. First of all, especially any Jewish scholar or Hebrew scholar will let you know that gopher does not say gopher in the ancient text. It is a 3-consonant sound, gopher. And because of things being lost to time or history, don't actually know what tree that is. And before somebody goes in there typing that, oh, gopher tree is a, type of cedar tree, yeah, that's in the Americas, where we have 200 of them. They're a critically endangered tree. Mass conservation efforts are going on for them. From what I hear, it's very good lumber. Obviously, I have not had access to it as a woodworker because, well, it's endangered. Moving on from that, though, Mount Ararat, which is the mountain range of Ararat, is believed to be where, when God pushed the winds after the flood, the general location of where the ark landed, which brings up some interesting points. We'll go over the floodwaters, heights, and everything in a little bit, but the wood itself is actually quite important here, in my opinion, and this is why I am taking over this section. So this is known as the Near East Armenian area, and the reason that's important is what trees would be available, because we know through books later on, when God gives instructions to make things, he gives them specific materials, and especially when they're asked to make things out of wood, it is always a high resin, rot resistant tree, which brings up a fascinating conversation on what is a gopher tree. Believe it or not, it is not answered as cleanly as one would hope it is, because it's just not. So, American Bibles, King James Version readers, you will note that you either see it written in there with an asterisk, or in your translation notes that it says a cypress tree. Is that wrong? No, probably not. Cypress trees do grow in that area. For those of you who don't remember or have not bothered to, well, I shouldn't say bothered, had not had the opportunity to look at a map or anything, Africa's not a desert. It's a savanna and a jungle that happens to have a desert in it. Meaning they have wetlands to support cypress trees. However, more
Well, yeah.
importantly, cypress is exceedingly hard. And note that God, being all-knowing, didn't give Noah a whole lot of time to build this ark. It is actually referenced by some Jewish scholars. This was most likely the cedar, a cedar, or the Armenian white oak, as they are both high resinous trees and are both incredibly rot resistant. The leading thought is that the gopher tree is what we now call a cedar. They have a type of cedar that grows in that area, and it is rot resistant, hardy, and abundant. Given that you are asking to withstand salt water at a peak of over 5,200 meters of water that burst out of the earth and fell from the rains to cover
Doesn't
the
even
greater.
have to actually be salt water, to be honest.
Well, I mean, only a handful of percentage of the world is fresh water. And if you,
Well, I mean, I know. I'm just saying it. Even if it was fresh water that fell that diluted the water content, the saline content, that would actually
yeah,
be less beneficial to things floating still.
true that.
Really, yeah.
No, he is right. The weight displacement on fresh water is actually lower than salt water. Salt water has more surface tension and increases the ratio of buoyancy. He is correct.
Yeah. So I mean, the whole oceans became desalinated, you could say, just because of the amount of water added. And
I mean, you call down the rains and you call out the water from under the earth. I mean, there's going to be a lot of desalination happening.
yeah, and it's like, what is it, 20 feet above or something like that, above the tallest mountain. So
Yep.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You're still doggy paddling in what, 15, 20 feet of water,
Right.
you know.
Uh, so
So
so it is estimated, because if you don't know, mountains grow. All right. It is estimated that around the time of Noah, the Great Azarath, which is, they said, the tallest peak for the area, and yes, I looked it up, was approximately 5,137 meters. No, I'm not digging out a calculator. Know that it's about 1,300 something feet.
yeah.
And the average range of that area being 3,896 meters. Estimated and believed for that time. It is also believed that it is an inactive area. So the Iranian Armenian mountain borders have not actually grown as they are dormant volcanoes. So if you want to take it from a scientific perspective, that fault line had moved.
Yeah.
So, and the reason this is important is that cedar and cypress both are believed to evolve very well due to their deep root content, by the way, to be able to absorb the deep ash found, the nutrients found deep under ash beds from near volcanoes. That is why it is important to acknowledge the lumber that is most likely the gopher wood that the Bible is referring to is more than likely either a cedar or a cypress. The more plentiful and easier to work would have been the cedar rather than the cypress. If you ever handled cypress woods, it will dull even your best tools. So, that was the interesting point because they had to pit it, they had to resin it, they had to, they built ships back then. They know how to build ships, so they had to tongue it, they pitched it, they resined it, and in all honesty, out of all the different oak variants, the limited amount of cypress they had, and their yew trees, cedar was probably the best option there. And it's important to note that because some of the translations say, "Oh, it's a cypress tree." A lot of the scholars, especially Hebrew scholars, believe it to be cedar. And this is an important note because again, you're going to find later on as we go through things when God says build something, He tells them exactly what to build it with. And just the fact that we have a
Huh.
tree whose name is lost to time for us is honestly just a fascinating subject by itself. And I wanted to share that historical knowledge with everybody because I'm a nerd. Anyway, I'm good now, do you know?
Okay, good.
I had to
I'm
share that.
like,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
some of this stuff I know, but you know what? When we were talking, it's like, oh yeah, dude, you handle this because you are far better to talk about it than I am. But
Different
in the
hands for different
meantime,
things.
well, and I was looking over, and it was like one of these copies. Only one of them said, now I completely lost the train of thought because they all have seven of the clean. Where this is where you still have the distinction of what is clean and what is not clean as
Mm-hmm.
far as food. We covered that earlier, but because you have God telling Noah to bring seven pairs of clean animals aboard the ark and two of the unclean,
Yes.
so he could have spares for sacrifice.
He
Just
ordained
saying.
them for sacrifice. It's written in there. There's no, I'm just
Hey,
saying. He approved
hey.
animals for sacrifice.
Let's see. Reading the Greek version, they were talking about the Nephilim. It doesn't get into detail how God ordered them to basically kill each other because of the, but it does state in the Ethiopian Bible part of the reason why God ordered the flooding of the earth is because of the violence upon the
Yes.
earth. So, and here it just says evil in the Ethiopian version.
Yeah.
So I thought that was rather an interesting distinction to bring up. Um, bring it into all flesh, da da da. The ship of gopher wood. Now, what is interesting also during that the floodwaters is God in all three of these versions, God closed the ark door and
Yes.
He opened it afterwards. In all three versions, it mentions that God did that.
Which mean
So, I mean,
which
it was what
means
the flood was 40 days, 40 nights. It lasted for 150 days after the wind blew.
yes.
And then I think he sent for 10 weeks in the ark still
Yeah.
after it landed, while the earth dried. And this, I guess, is where you can assume the purification comes in.
Look to the
And
covering of the
then God
bones.
opened it and allowed Noah and the animals to come out.
Let's see. Translation text of time. See,
However,
Noah
oh,
who
here it is.
lifted the covering back to the boat and saw the surface of the ground was drying. 14 of verse 14. 2 months went by. Translation note. The 27th day of the second month had arrived.
Oh yes, I'm kind of skipping over because the Ethiopians are very time sensitive, and there's a lot of time markers in here.
Oh
So I'm
yeah.
kind of skipping over a lot of these time markers they have. But I was noticing that the Ethiopian is the only one that says specifically the ark went and rested on top of Lubar, one of the mountains of Ararat. It's the only one that actually names the mountain. Not that we didn't know which one it was,
Right. Uh,
but
let's see.
or
And
highly suspect anyway. So,
right. Now, let's see. We do have a couple of other notes here. If you have a study Bible of the either NIV or the King James version, or if you are a reader of the Jewish Torah, you should know that despite what people say, we know what a cubit is. A cubit, sorry. And for those of you who don't know, 300 cubits, and I'm butchering that pronunciation. I want everyone to know that I understand this. Uh, is approximately 138 meters long, 23 meters wide, and 13.8 meters high from the deck. An opening of a cubit is 46 centimeters. Now, it's the reason I point this out is a lot of people will tell you, "Oh, we don't know how big the ark was, etc. We don't know what a cubit is." Yes, we do. The Jews know what it is. We know what it is. And I keep saying Jews because we're in the Old Testament. They have this too.
Hebrews, actually, if we wanted to be correct, as my wife pointed out, we would address them as the Hebrews.
No, the Torah has the Old Testament text as we do as well. They have.
Well, I know. I believe I believe it is referred to as Jews in the Old
Hmm.
Testament too.
Well, that's why I said you because
But yeah, I
they
mean, if you want to go historical, it would be Hebrew. But
true that. Yeah, he's right. He's right. But yeah, so we do know the volume of the ark. Uh, and one of the most important things, if anyone has ever, am I the only person here who's ever built a boat?
yeah,
Oh, well then allow me to explain. So a
I've
lot of
been
people,
on plenty of boats, but
right?
just
So
sorry, had to throw that in there.
no, you're good. You're good. So, for people to understand, when you measure a boat, right, you're not just measuring its height, width, and length. Bow to stern, there's a lot more to a boat than that. So we have these volumetric measurements, and a lot of people will be immediately, go against, oh, there's no way the boat slightly larger, a lot larger than a football field and a half would hold everything. Well, yeah, if I try to line up everything on a football field and a half, I would have issues too. But remember the part that's not measured in here, at least not in the translation portion, we obviously have the volume, is that God told him to make decks. He specifically told him to make out levels, and they were of different sizes. These were not equal. These were not equal in volume, and he had what we would call a ballast. That word is obviously not used in either of the translations I have before me because I looked for it. You have a flotation gap. And the flotation gap is not measured as part of the ship's volume. It never is, never was, and never has been. But it does show that he says to make the gap beneath the deck and it's for a ballast, it's to help the ship float. And the reason this is important is that if you take a football field and a half, and then you take the half yard to the end zone and stand it up, and then you take both end zones and you put it on top and over that, you have a rough idea on how big the ark was.
About, yeah.
Now, for those of you who would like the English measurements, as I did not write them down, 1 meter is approximately 3.31 feet. All right.
Uh, da, 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 da. Yeah, yeah.
But I digress from that. I wanted to speak about that because there were many times when I was in high school. Oh, Noah's Ark wasn't that big, dude. That is massive. I've even heard the argument, "Oh, you can't build a ship that big." Man, we got ships bigger than that rolling around today. What you talking about? Like, I just wanted to point that out. It has always bothered me. I'm sorry, DNL. Please continue.
No, no. I mean, what can I say? Oh, go Navy.
The Big E,
I heard
baby,
the same
Big
thing, and I
E.
just looked at people like, really?
All right,
Obviously, you've never been on a ship.
ships are great.
What's the difference between a boat and a ship? One's got guns.
I was gonna go with required power, but that works too.
No, that's the actual Navy definition.
Oh
One's
yeah,
got guns.
yep,
So if it doesn't have guns, it's a boat.
yep. Let's see. I will establish my covenant with your sons of all the living flesh, bringing two of every sort onto the ship to keep them alive with you. They shall be male and female of the birds after their kind, of the livestock after their kind, and every creeping thing on the ground after its kind. Two of every sort will come to you to keep them alive. So, and here is the second part that people often have a trouble. Where's my highlighter? There's my highlighter. A lot of people are like, there's no way Noah could go around, build the ark, and gather all of these animals. Well, if you look in your Bible and you look into our little Ethiopian translation Bible up here, yeah, the Ethiopian 66 book canon, God sent them to him. He did not have to
Yep.
go round up
Yeah, you
two
didn't
of
have to go
every
round them up.
animal on the
God taught him.
planet.
No, that's interesting. Um, I didn't realize it at the time. Again, just reading through stuff, and it didn't occur to me. But the Ethiopian and the Greek translation actually talk about Noah's sacrifice, and I'm like, am I just missing it here? I probably am.
No,
Yeah,
no, the English one does talk about his burnt offering to God after the flood.
yeah, yeah. It says the aroma's nice, but it actually in the other two, it actually talks about what he sacrificed. I'm like, well, that's interesting.
There is some scholar notes about it. I'll be honest and say I didn't pull it up, but there are some
No,
scholar
no,
notes
it's
about
just
it.
it was interesting.
Hmm.
Just because I mean it kind of, well, I should say the goodness gracious, this is the Greek one, right? Yeah. No, wait. Holy snot. Too many texts to be looking at once.
You got this.
No, no, okay, that's the Greek one. It is the Greek one. Um the Greek one doesn't let's see. I was like, where what the go out of the ship, get the hell out. Be fruitful and multiply, replenish the earth. Uh, yeah, it's interesting because here it is. You have God tell him go forth and multiply, same as in the
Mhm.
King James. But as soon as he comes out, it's like, oh yeah, we building this altar, and it
Yep.
talks about what he sacrificed. Actually, even
Okay.
yeah, yeah, it's he sacrificed a kid. What was it?
Yep.
And he made the okay. Chapter 6, verse 1, Ethiopian, blah. Okay. Anyways, I hope y'all understand. And and on the new moon of the third month, he went forth from the ark and built an altar on the mountain. He made an anointment for the earth and took a kid and made anointment
Young goat.
by its blood for all of the guilt of the earth. for everything that had been destroyed, save for those who were on the ark. And he placed the fat thereof on the altar, and an ox, a goat, a sheep, a kid, some salt, a turtle dove, a young dove, and he placed and burnt these as offerings on the altar
Yep.
with frankincense and some wine. So again, reference to wine.
Gotta love wine. All right.
Hey,
So the part I highlighted while Noah was while DNL was going through that, uh see, on the day all the fountains of the great deep burst open and the sky's windows opened. Note that that is worded differently in your what you call it in your English Bible.
the English one, yeah.
Uh this is uh this is a translation issue. Um Going through basically the skies of the windows open. Eastern Orthodox churches use the term windows for the sky because God looks down from above. And it's the atmosphere of the earth is to believe the window of the earth that God looks through to look upon his children. I just wanted to point that out. That's why the Ethiopian and the
And the
Greek,
Greek Orthodox, yeah, they both say that the
they're
windows.
windows because they believe that it's the point of view from which God looks down from heaven to view to look upon the earth. That's why it says windows.
There is no, see, it was so. Noah went.
So as we can see while he's looking up his thing,
Clean animals and every clean bird and burnt offerings on the altar. So yeah, the other one went a little bit more into detail
yeah.
of
Uh,
what exactly was offered.
so those who went in, male, female, of all flesh, as God commanded him, God Himself, and it's in your English Bible too. God Himself said, "I'll close the ark for you," which I thought is a really cool thing. God closed the ark. It wasn't some kind of thing where Noah and his sons were like, pulley hoisting the ark closed. No, God closed it.
Yeah, yeah. They all said that God Himself closed the ark.
Right, which is an
It's a really
awesome perspective when you think about it, because Noah, and by extension his family, they found, well, Noah, and through Noah them, they found they found favor with God, and God basically pressing the great reset button was like, hey, you did what I told, go on in there, I'll close the ark, don't worry about it. These people got to be around and near God in both senses of the term.
I
Which,
will say once again, I mean, going through the Greek, the Ethiopian, and the New King James, even just at this particular second, it's like, yeah, the King James uses, um, well, either that or it's really, really smaller print. I think it's smaller print. It's like seems to take less, but there's more described in the other translations.
yeah.
I mean, we really are just glossing over certain things.
So, describing the flood, so we can get to my so we can do this. First of all, let's all realize that the average, not the average, the high end lifespan for people, was around 900 to 1,000 years old. Noah himself and Adam both got to live to about over. Oh, well, Noah got to 950. Adam got a little bit higher because the privilege of Adam spent a lot of his life walking beside God. You get an extended lifespan. I'm just saying, all right? Like, you don't get better
Yeah,
than
but
that.
you remember, if you go by the you go by the Ethiopian translation, it says that a day in heaven is equal to 1,000 years here on earth, which is why Noah, or not Noah, oh my gosh, Adam died
Yeah.
before a day because he ate of the tree of knowledge. Oh
Yep.
my goodness.
You might need some, you think you need some more coffee there, bud?
Yes, always.
So keeping that in
Better eyes would be helpful, but glasses are glasses.
right. Um Keep in mind that Noah's actually do this at 600 years old. Now me and DNL did have some fun talks about that. Uh Given the lifespan and the likely aging process, even scientifically speaking, this would probably put Noah's physical condition as historically acknowledged as a farmer and land ruler. Uh, Noah would have probably been an N-shaped 60-year-old man,
Yeah.
as we would see today.
Yeah. Um, that's what we were thinking.
There you go, Grizzly Jim goals. Yeah, be 60-year-old
Because
Noah.
I mean, the first thing all translations say also is, the first thing that Noah did is he became a farmer,
Yeah.
or was to be a farmer.
Yep.
So, implying that he'd already had the knowledge of.
Which
See, it's
explains
going to be the farmers that save us here in America.
well,
Oh,
it
hey.
also explains a lot on the favor Noah would have found with God to begin with. There was no distinction between ranchers and farmers back in the day.
Yeah.
If you were a farmer, you had livestock and crops. It wasn't, oh, I'm a cattle rancher. I don't deal with crops unless it's, grazing hay and alfalfa. You know, no, that's not how that worked. But if you farmed, you farmed. You farmed it all. All right, you were playing Harvest Moon on God mode for 950 years. Take that, Twilight mode. Anyway, moving on from that part though, before I
Yeah.
get before I start mixing video games in here. Um, you know the after the seventh day, God sent the floods, and again, Noah had the privilege of God closing the door for him, which I mean, honestly, the honor there is profound.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, making sure that the ship was sealed and,
Hmm.
you
So
know,
So every living thing was destroyed on the surface of the ground, including man. And me and DNL talked about this part with about Noah and God on the earth, and we're going to address this as we have some history records to share about this. All flesh died on the earth, including the birds, livestock, animals, and every creeping thing on the earth, every man, all on dry land, those whose nostrils was the breath of the spirit of life had died. Our Bible translates this a little bit differently. It's all life.
yeah,
But
because with the particular way you put it, I have a question.
uh-huh.
Leviathan.
Yeah.
Leviathan would have obviously. I mean, that's why I'm like, wait a second.
Well, the Hebrew context of Leviathan is, the sea serpent, the sea monster, the sea dragon,
Yeah.
depending on what part you read. It is believed that they both had gills and lungs, as wild biology as that would be to explain. That is what they believed on that. So, um, and it being not on the earth, because our translation shows, creatures on the earth or of the ground, depending on which text you're
Yes.
reading.
That. I mean, that's what I was getting from all of them. Is kind of just fountains of the deep. Earth was open. The abysses of the earth. Water began to descend into the deep below. Where is it? See, and that's here. It's talking about the actual flood
Mm-hmm.
in this. Um, it is written and ordained that he will show mercy. All those who corrupted their ways and their thoughts before the flood, no, no man's person was accepted save that of Noah. Ouch.
Yep.
Uh,
So the waters continuously receded from the earth. After the end of the 150 days, the water receded. So the seventh day, the rain started, and the flood was for 150 days. The ship rested on the seventh month, on the 17th day of the month. I know a lot of our English Bibles say list it out as that, but if you have a study Bible, it will still show that 8:14, the Hebrew translation, is the 27th day of the second month arrived, which is the next part talking about when the earth had actually dried. The ship rested on the seventh month and 17th day on the Ararat Mountains. This is the mountain range we were talking about the trees earlier. This is the section I looked up to kind of see what trees they were actually having. I'll go ahead and highlight that right there. Waters receded continually until the 10th month. In the 10th month, on the first day of the month, the tops of the mountains were visible. At the end of 40 days, Noah opened the ship which he had made and sent out a raven. It went back and forth until the waters dried up from the earth. He himself sent out a dove to see if the waters were abated from the surface on the ground. But the dove found no place to rest her foot, so she returned into the ship to him. For the waters were on the surface of the whole earth. So he put out his hand and took her. He brought her to him into the ship. He waited yet another 7 days, and he again sent out the dove out of the ship. They dove. The dove came back at evening, and behold, in her mouth a freshly plucked olive leaf. Now, this is the part I wanted to talk about a little bit. As me and DNL were discussing this part at great length. A lot of people, especially non-Christians, and some Christians, this is honestly a good question to ask. They're like, well, God flooded all the earth and destroyed everything. How did it come back with an olive leaf? Oh, this isn't accurate. Yo, God made the Garden of Eden in like a few hours because he could. If you go back and
Pretty
read,
much.
if you go
It's
back,
implied that way several times.
right,
Yeah, in several places that it's like, oh yeah, and there's the Garden of Eden.
right. If you go back and you read the beginning parts of the world gone wrong, or the beginning of the story of Noah, God's heart is broken from the wickedness, the denial, the evil that has been brought upon the earth, the corruption of all that is good. If you believe that your Lord God Almighty, knowing that he was going to have Noah and his people back upon the earth, I guarantee you he knows that they need to eat to live. He made them. Okay? Yes, God flooded the earth and destroyed everything living on it. Yes, God probably laid out new life to help the world reconstitute, for lack of better words, and to have and to have their families survive. Remember, God is with you now. He is there at the beginning and is waiting for you at the end. That is why he's called the Alpha and the Omega. We're not dealing with a deity who makes plans and hopes it works out. He is already there. So just remember, as a big point of contention for the Old Testament of the Bible, especially for non-Christians and stuff like that. Um, I know a lot of the Hebrews also had to debate about this back and forth, but yo, he knows what we need to survive. He made us in his image and he made us his way. Yes, okay, I have destroyed all that is corrupted and evil. He's gonna make more. God, I mean, God doesn't stop creating. Hello, you were born to begin with. God doesn't stop creating. So to believe that he just wiped out the earth and said, "Yo, you handle it," it's kind of a backward step in faith. And I wanted to point that out because a lot of people have trouble. How did the dove come back with an olive leaf? Do you think God just decided to sit on his hands? God's a very active being. I'm just saying. And I no,
I
all
I
joking aside,
remember
though, that's what I wanted to point out.
I remember, and I didn't look it up. Bad me. There was some research into the olive tree being rather resilient.
The olive trees are support. Well, old olive trees were very
Yeah,
resilient for some reason. Gee, I wonder why. To
yeah,
saltwater intrusion, despite being an altitude crop.
yeah. Exactly. Yeah, yeah. I remember something about that, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh man, but that was there was some, yeah, and that's why they came back with the olive tree because even though he flooded it and etc., but the olive tree survived.
Now,
There would
if
have been trees,
right,
but
so to explain
or
that
again,
science,
snap of the fingers.
right.
You know,
Now, if
the
you would like
sea
that,
didn't get washed away, therefore they again 101 scientific explanations as well. Sorry to interrupt.
no, 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 you're good. If you want a scientific explanation for that, where are these people at? I pulled up a map for this discussion. Hold on, I got you.
Oh yeah, they're around the Mount Ararat. I believe that's
Yeah. So we were talking
um,
about this whole area right here. Do you know what this area, this right here, DNL might not be able to see what I'm doing right now.
yeah. I know. I'm pulling it up to take a look, and I'm like, let me see.
All right,
What
so
am I doing?
these areas do a miraculous thing that all sea river connections are supposed to do. United States government, they flood seasonally. Well, let's see. We got this sea river here, the Dead Sea. We have all of this here. More of this was water back in the day. This is a current map. This river mouth was wider.
Oh yeah, that's and
And do you know
there's
what all of this
little
has in
area.
common? From a scientific perspective, if you were worried for an answer, the answer is silt, salt water silt. Trees
Mm-hmm.
in that area would naturally evolve to tolerate saltwater silt for a season, not a moment, a season. This is why old olive trees were very hardy trees. So if you wanted a scientific explanation, uh,
Again, 150 days, not quite a full season, but
well, it's a good couple months,
yeah,
good few months, I should say.
good few months, about six.
An
You know,
average season lasting 4.5 months. I mean, there you go.
so I mean, yeah, is it scientifically possible that the olive tree itself could have survived the flood?
Yes.
Yes.
Do I think
If you
that's what
want to
God
go
did? No. I believe God
again,
came through and wiped it out and said, "All right, let's remake some stuff."
hey, let's try this over.
Like the Great Flood is known as the Great Reset button
Yeah, pretty
for a
much.
reason. And like I said, a lot
And
of
then he
people
said
have
he'll
issues.
never flood the earth again with the rainbows.
Yep, with the
I
rainbows.
mean, because the Ethiopian, right about where is it? Right about here it gets really, really long into Noah's sacrifice, God's covenant with him, and instructions to Moses about eating of the blood and then feast week. Because according to the Ethiopians, it's Moses that is currently recording the the Book of Jubilees.
Yeah.
So Because it starts off, the Ethiopian starts off with again an angel. God told an angel to write down these books, write down the history, and so Moses did, and there you
Mm-hmm.
go. Jubilees being counted.
So, another point here, which I'll be honest, I'm kind of jealous of Noah, if I'm being honest about it to everybody here. So, after the flood and everything, God speaks to Noah saying, "All right, time to get out of the ship and let everybody out." So God came to Noah, told him what to do, what's going to happen. You have found my favor. All of that tells him what to do. See, it closes the door for him, and then it's like, okay, hey, time to come back out. That much physical presence with God, it just has to be awe-inspiring, to be honest. But,
Well, and again, sorry to interrupt, but I wanted to point out,
mm-hmm,
you have where Moses wasn't allowed to actually even see God, just his back.
yep,
So,
that's going to be real fun to go through later. uh,
oh man, Exodus is going to take forever.
oh yeah. So here we go. This is what Dino was talking about. I have it on screen highlighted. You know, the view of the rainbow from the clouds is God's covenant that He will not strike all living things off the earth again with a flood. That sounds cute and cuddly. You should be terrified. Because if He's
Yeah,
not using
well,
a flood, what's He going to use next time?
big rock from space, apparently, if you read the books.
Right.
Yeah, he's gonna burn us all.
So,
Ooh.
right. So, like we had already read, be fruitful, multiply, and replenish the earth. Be fruitful and
Yeah.
multiply is often told to people from God when He has grand plans for him. It's the replenish the earth part that while we go through this next section, I am going to speak a lot on because this is a phrase almost solely used with Noah. It's used with a couple of other people, but all of these people have one thing in common: they are farmers. Like for instance, God
Wow.
told Adam and Eve to go forth and multiply,
And
but
then
did
Adam became a farmer.
Adam did become a farmer, but notice that he didn't tell Adam to replenish the earth, or he told him to toil with the earth. So we know
Yeah.
everything was already there. We know God put things back after made some things after the flood. I shouldn't say put it back. That was the wrong wording to use there. And then proceeds to tell Noah that every moving thing that lives will be food for you. As I have gave you green herb, I have given everything to you. And this is the part where I get to mock vegans and talk about some of us more carnivorous of diets. There is a thing with God here that you should know, especially if you love your carnivorous diet. I do. All right. But flesh with its life, that is its blood, you shall not eat. There are very old hunting traditions around this. I know Grizzly observes them. Uh, Meat is not bad to eat. It's the blood you cannot drink. For it, that is the essence of its life. The Bible has already spoken about this, despite that we're only in chapter 9 of the Bible. The innocent spilling of blood is what cursed life to begin with when Abel was slain. Because remember, God said his blood in the earth cries out to me. You are not to partake in the blood, drinking the blood of an animal. This is why, especially with pork and other meats, especially if you are a hunter, this is where the hunting traditions really solidify in historical records of bleeding your harvest. It is because since the olden times, blood is not for us to consume. Meat, flesh. sinew, crops, herbs. Yes, the blood is the only thing. Well, drinking and using the blood of life is off limits. You're not supposed to do that. Uh,
Outside of sacrifice, yeah.
outside of sacrifice, yes. For I will surely require accounting for your life's blood. At the hand of any animal, I will require of it. At the hand of man, even at the hand of another man's brother, I will require the life of a man. Whoever sheds man's blood, his blood shall be shed by man, for God has made man in his own image. This was an important context for farmers and hunters back in the day. If you have the expanded text and you have a study Bible, we haven't gotten into them yet, but Nimrod was very well known for this. Nimrod is considered the greatest of hunters, and he always either kept for sacrifice or bled every hunt, for he knew he was not to touch the lifeblood of an animal and consume it in any fashion. This the reason I bring this like I said, the reason I bring this up, a lot of people, especially these days, are all like, God put them there for us to live. And we don't just go around walking up to random animals and chomp on them while they're alive. There's a process and a respect involved. And that is one of the keys I wanted to bring up about this. A lot of people are like, "Oh, you can't eat that." No, God says we can. It's right here. It's right here. No, we were not herbivores. Never have we ever been. Ever. But increase abundantly in the earth and multiply in it. God spoke to Noah and his sons with him, saying, "As for me, behold, I establish my covenant with you." This is the rainbow. I am done with my food rant there. If you wanted to continue, my bad.
Oh, okay. No, no, no. That's fine. I was actually, I again, multiple translations. I'm reading, I'm reading. I'm like, wait a second, this is interesting. Blah
Okay.
blah blah blah. Yeah, blah blah. And I'm like, I know I'm robbing our audience actually.
Well,
Um,
if you're still going through the translations, I'll keep going if you want.
well, this was for the Shem.
Oh, okay. You're at Shem. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I'm a little out of place at the moment. I mean, I was going through all three translations. They all basically, yeah, they say God. Here it is.
Mm-hmm.
Two of them are, I give you all he specifically names. I give you all the animals, and the herbs. Um,
Okay.
I believe it's the Ethiopian that has an angel come down to Noah, but I think I'm a little ahead of myself on that.
Just a bit.
And has Noah write down all the herbs. Was it no? No, it was Abram. See,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
also at that
Abram.
point too.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, wait a second. No, that's Abram. Let me back
Yep.
up.
That's Abram.
Because um, this one was what was it? Must be the Lord God of Shem. Okay, this must be him
Mm-hmm.
cursing. Uh, Shem, because it's really interesting. And you gotta rip out some maps for this one, man. And now it's gone. What had me so interested? I can't believe it. Well, I kind of can, because this one's a really
Are you having a feed issue in your studio over there?
I'm having a distracted issue by the text because it's interesting. That's all.
Oh no, you have a different problem going on, or I have a different problem
No, I'm
going on.
fine.
My camera disabled.
Oh, well, that's not fun. Well, amateur, professional, professional, amateurs.
Kind of, yeah. You might want to swap over to yours for a minute.
Okay. Give me a moment, I guess. Um, I have to go over here to do that. My bad.
No, you're good.
Uh, there we go. That should be better.
Yeah, and
Minor
I got
problems. Professional amateurs, amateur professional. I guess we were kind of stunned for a little bit there. I apologize um, for that. Um,
hit
it,
refreshing.
other things it wants to make points of, but it does go
Got
over,
it.
and there's quite a bit. Like I had mentioned to him about it talks, and this is a little bit of
Meat
trouble
is
with the
good.
Ethiopian,
Squirrel
but
is
not
good
quite
too.
as
Hi, Rants.
Noah's sacrifice, God's covenant with him. So there, obviously we were talking about the rainbow, and then instructions to Moses about eating of blood. So it goes into a lot of detail and of, but I had read the name because in the Ethiopian it was Shelob and or Sheob. But anyways,
Real quick,
Lord of the Rings.
before we continue, I want to thank Rants and Sweets for coming by our little discussion with a raid. We are having technical issues right now, and I don't have a raid song, but I want to thank you all for coming in. Thank you all very much. As you can see, we're going through different translations and all of that. It's actually funny because I actually reposted Sweets earlier today because she had a wonderful little show going. Unfortunately, I was at work and I couldn't stay to watch it, but I got to see it. And so I just wanted to take a moment to tell them thank you for coming in. Thank you, Rance, for the raid. Sorry.
Smack. Anyways,
No.
no, no, no. I'm sitting here and I'm like, wow. It just because it really does. The Ethiopian text just it. There are some spots it emphasizes, like it's talking here again. It's still talking about the heavenly tablets. The only other reference you get to tablets, what was it? Mark, I believe, is the. Let's see, and I'm a little. Um, and we left, and I and you, my sons, and everything that entered with us into the ark. And behold, I see your works before me, that ye do not walk in righteousness. I believe he's cursing again. He's cursing. He's cursing people. Um, and the Lord destroyed everything from off of the face of the earth because of the wickedness of their deeds and because of the blood for which they had shed in the midst of the earth. He destroyed everything. Um, and we were left, and I
hmm
and my sons, and everything. Yeah, yeah. So I'm like in the mid chapter. This is,
Okay.
I believe it's Noah um, talking to his sons.
Oh, okay, that's where you're at. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
to bring up to speed real quick, while he has a lot of translations to go through. But if you want to finish going through that real quick, I can talk. If you want, I can go ahead and talk about the point of responsibility of Canaan and his brothers with regards of Noah have taking up the farm and everything real quick if you'd like while you're going
Yeah,
through your.
sure.
All right.
Um, if you wish, yeah, I'll listen.
Alrighty. So while he goes through
Before
his
you.
translations, it is important to note they focus on agriculture, especially when it comes to Noah, because his historical text before the flood, he was a farmer. Uh, and the point of responsibility, like we had mentioned before, Genesis talks a lot about responsibility, who thereof, where responsibility goes, etc., etc., etc. And this is another point of respect, accountability, and responsibility upon the sons of Noah and Noah himself. The three sons of Noah, if you are not familiar with them, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. All right, so these were from which the
Depends.
earth Japheth.
Hunter.
Noah began to be a farmer and planted a vineyard. Uh, Remember, as we were discussing earlier, yeah, God made things after the flood, hence the olive branch and everything. Um, but grapes being a solid choice, it is also important to point out these are not the same grapes that we have today. But in times of meat scarcity, small hunting tribes, meaning, less net to cast out for their meat and everything, grapes were a good choice because they were a source of hydration and vitamins and light sugars. Also allowed them to do dehydration and everything for preservation and also make wine. Wine is very popular with the Bible, which is fine. Wine is not a bad thing. Remember, the act of drunkenness is the problem, not the wine itself. Uh, so it points out Noah began to be a farmer. He planted his vineyard, and we can assume based on rate of fermentation, this was probably about a year later. He drank of the wine and got drunk. He was uncovered within his tent. So at no a point of responsibility and accountability, Noah was not out naked in the field and passed out in his field. He was in his tent. He was enjoying a drink that he was able to farm and gather by the sweat of his brow and by the blessing of the Lord. He got drunk. He passed out in his tent. Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the drunken. I said Canaan earlier. Sorry, Ham. Uh, saw the nakedness of his father. Told his two brothers outside. Shem and Japheth, took a garment and laid it over both of their shoulders. Went backwards and covered the nakedness of their father. I want to point out real quick here. There is a Hebrew translation that this could also mean covered the shame of their father, meaning that he was naked and they covered him.
Well, yeah, well, again, you can remember Adam and Eve. What did
Mm-hmm.
they feel when, as soon as they realized they were naked?
Exactly. And
So,
so the point of responsibility here is that, Ham saw his father and basically was like, he went out and told his brothers, ha 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 ha, but his brothers, with respect, love, and, what's that word I'm looking for? I lost my words. With respect, love, and accountability, you know, covered their father. They even looked away to respect him, within the point of shame. It happens to the best of us. Thank you, Rance. Thank you, buddy. Uh so Shem and Japheth, they saw, hey, our father is not, disgracing the Lord. He is not disrespect. He was in, he's in his tent, he had some wine, and he passed out. That's, so it's not like they understood, hey, our father has not disgraced or sinned against God. He passed out in his tent. His shame is not on display. And the point of issue here is now the fact that, you know, Ham made a joke about it. And the accountability, the accountability falling on Ham and Canaan, I keep saying Canaan, is you belittled your father, therefore you will now be servants to your brother. So when
remember,
Noah awoke from his wine, a lot of Hebrew texts say stupor as a translation, by the way. He will be a servant to his brothers. Blessed be the Lord God. I know what it says there. The God of Shem, let Canaan be his servant. May God enlarge Japheth. Let him dwell in the tents of Shem. Let Canaan be his servant. Noah lived 350 years after the flood. So, what is the issue here? Noah did everything he could to stay right in the eyes of the Lord. As a matter of fact, when God he did this so much that when God decided I'm hitting the big reset button of water, Noah was the one picked, which is honestly a beautiful thing. And to survive all of that turnaround, shame your father for being in essentially his home. I know it says tent, but they just got done with the flood. It's his home. Um, uh, you know, you shamed your father, who by his will, well, not his will, his standing with God allowed you to be saved, and you can't even have enough respect to cover your father. That is the point of accountability and humility. This is why Japheth and Shem, this is why Noah, asked the Lord to bless them, because in his moment of smallness, Japheth and Shem looked out for their father. They respected and held acknowledgement for their father, and that's one of the big contentions here. Is like, oh, you know, they just made a joke. That's not what it's about. It's about accountability and respect, and a lot of Genesis is about that. And
Okay. Oh,
nope, go
I,
ahead.
I wanted to I wanted to say part of the reason we jumping around so much in this is because the books themselves also jump around. As I said, the Ethiopians will prioritize something which the Greeks won't necessarily prioritize so much, and of course King James won't mention it at all. But it's like, but it kind of fits in.
Right.
Um, yeah, but at the same time, it's interesting because here now we're going to jump back to pre-flood, but in the way this reads, it's under Noah offers sacrifice and the cursing of Canaan. Um, and Noah's what is it? Noah's sons and grandsons and their cities and Noah's admonishment. So there's a lot going on in this chapter, and so it's rehashing a little bit. Um, but I found it interesting because it says uh, Nephilim, let's see, and the Watchers, they begot sons, and they are all unalike, uh, and they devoured one another, and then the giant slew the Nephil, or yeah, the Nephil, and the Nephil slew the Elju, and the Elju mankind and man one another, and everyone sold himself to work inequity and to shed much blood, and the earth was filled with the inequity. And after this, they sinned against the beasts, the birds, and all of that moves and walks on the earth, and much blood was shed on the earth, and every imagination and desire of man imagined vanity and evil continually. And the Lord destroyed everything from off the face of the earth because of the wickedness of their deeds and because of the blood which they had shed in the midst of the earth. He destroyed everything. Um, and we are left, I and you, my sons, and everything that entered with us into the ark. And behold, I see your works before me, uh, that you do uh, not walk in righteousness, uh, for in the path of destruction you will begin to walk, and you will are parting one from another, and are envious of one another, and so it comes uh, in parentheses that you are not in harmony, my sons, with each his brother. For I see and behold, the demons have begun their seduction against you and against the children. And now I fear on your behalf that after my death you will shed the blood of man upon the earth, and that you too will be destroyed from the face of the earth. For whose sheddeth man's blood, and whose uh, eateth the blood of any flesh shall be destroyed from the earth, and there shall not be left any man that eateth the blood, or that sheddeth the blood of man on earth, nor shall there be uh, left to him any seed or descendants living upon under heaven. For into Sheol shall they go, and into the place of condemnation shall they descend. Multiple levels of hell implied again, or implied for the first time.
Right.
And it goes on. I mean, um,
All right.
and your children together, all flesh. Yeah, yeah. It kind of emphasizes that eating of blood and murder are bad things right here.
Yes, very bad things.
Um, mentions Enoch. Anyways, bring down
Mm-hmm.
the tone of everything. You know,
Murderers.
yeah, exactly. Just to kind of show the difference of say the Ethiopian, which again, uh, pre King James version versus the King James version, because the King James version definitely doesn't get into that kind of depth.
Yep. All right.
Um,
So,
so
uh, this is going to be important context for later. I went ahead and highlighted and read for everybody. The last part of the story of Noah are the descendants of Noah and his sons.
oops, actually, I should have put this back up. My bad. There we go.
Uh,
Everybody got to see the bird on my channel. I mean, wait. Oops.
let's see. So, right here, verse 14. Uh, it is often asked where did the Philistines come from? They are the descendants of Calusum.
Of which one?
Calusum. Mizraim.
Which would lead all the way back up, I believe, to Shem.
Yes.
Yes.
Um, Cain became the father of Sidon, his firstborn, Heth, Jubilees, Amorites, and the Gerishites, and the Hivites, and the Arksites, and the Senites, and the Amorites. Uh, so these clans, especially that us in America would refer to as the Middle Eastern clans throughout
Arabs.
history, Arabs.
I
And,
believe actually the Ethiopian translation does call them Arabs.
okay,
Yeah, yeah. It's okay.
I
It's
wasn't sure about that part.
one of the two translations actually there's a quick paragraph about, okay, the children of Canaan go off this way and they are known as Arabs.
Right.
To that effect. I think it's a little longer than that, but that's where they call themselves Arabs. So there you go.
Yeah. So the reason I took the time to highlight this part out is as we go through the descendants of Noah's children are going to be prominently featured all throughout the Bible because this is where basically they stemmed from. Your Canaanites, your Gerishites, your Hivites, your Philistines, uh, all of them and the Canaanites from Sidon went towards Gaza, as you see here. I'm gonna highlight that for you. So I know that text is a little bit small on screen.
Let's see, that would be as I read through it, that's the Ethiopian translation?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
The Greek,
see,
I look for keyword. Eh.
so because these are all going to be referenced later throughout the Old Testament and parts of the New Testament. While yeah, reading the generational context of the Bible is a hard read, not gonna lie, it's not the funnest or the most terrifying thing to read, but it's an important aspect to know how these tribes were separated. Where did they come from? Because if you look, yeah, problems with the Canaanites. Well, they were a descendant of Canaan, father of Sidon, not Saddam Hussein, Sidon, and they went towards Guerrera to Gaza. So all of these things that you would look at if you have a study Bible, you have a map in your back fold. That's where this comes from. That this is all of this that you're going to see here through the next parts of Genesis is showing you where everything laid out. You know, where did they come from, how they got there. So it's important to kind of to mentally have a established, context. And that's why it's in Genesis. I know people don't like reading the genealogy sections of the Bible, but this is why it's important.
Yeah, so you know who the bad guys are. Just saying.
I mean,
Oh,
it's not wrong. It's not wrong.
I'm just saying. Um, oh, thank you. You're wrong. Christianity needs to separate from the Jews and prioritize their own survive. Well, we get into that one. They are prosecuted everywhere and being attacked and murdered. Yes.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, what was it? Just this last week,
Mm-hmm.
President Donald Trump. I almost said Ronald Reagan for some reason. Flashback. Um, President Donald Trump sent 200 troops to Nigeria to defend the Christians. Booyah. Christians are more persecuted than Jews in America. This is true because, well, again, everybody wants to get on the patriarchy, and it's funny. We're covering a book that's nothing but the patriarchy.
Praise the Lord. Uh, all right.
In any Western nation, really, yeah, that's the problem. Is we are under attack as Christians. It's part of why I got motivated to do this. Had to do with the assassination of some dude. He was murdered.
Right.
Uh, for his beliefs,
Now,
no less.
I highlighted this section in blue because I'm going to leave this decision up to Dino. We debated on whether or not we were also going to cover the Tower of Babel before we get into Abram, later Abraham, uh,
Yeah.
and going through that. Now, the Tower of Babel is one chapter, and I'm just letting you know I don't have a problem going through it right now. If you wanted to continue, or if you want to save it for next week, I will leave that decision up to you.
Um, how about I do this? It's like 8:46 your time.
Correct.
The Tower of Babel has some interesting implications because, well, I mean, it only covers one of the descendants in the
Yes.
area. All right, fine. I mean, because
I said I got till 9:45. I got another hour in me. If you want to roll, let's roll.
yeah,
Actually,
but do our poor. All right, fine. If
it is systemic. You're wrong. It is systemic.
Christians are the only religion not protected in the Christian nations, and the enemies of God and the worshippers of Islam are taking advantage of it. It's systemic. Yes,
Yes,
unfortunately, I have to agree. Again, it's part of
but
the motivation for me to do this channel too. I'm like,
let's let's also remember a couple of points here. God never told anybody that being a Christian was going to be easy. He tells you the exact opposite. The fact is
yes,
people don't like those who walk gently but carry a big stick. People don't like that. People don't like honesty. Have you ever tried being 100% honest with somebody for an extended period of time? They hate you.
yep. Usually,
And for a good example of this, I'm going to talk a very short excerpt about who Deanna was talking about, and that would be Charlie Kirk, and Lord rest his soul, for thou art in heaven. Um, Being honest hurts people. There is a clip that I like to talk about when it comes to
and
Char
people's fifis
and their
are very
fifis,
important these days. Their
apparently.
fifis.
Uh, and there's an important thing I want to talk about here is that speaking honestly hurts. And no, I'm not talking about Charlie Kirk being assassinated. This is a different thing.
Because yeah, I don't see where the Lord is like, I don't, well, you know, your fifis.
Right. In fact, especially in Genesis, quite the opposite. There
Exactly.
was there was a time where Charlie Kirk came upon an honest atheist. Let me talk about what that means before I talk about what happened. To be an honest atheist, you have to acknowledge that there is no such thing as an objective evil or an objective good, because that would demand a higher power. Most atheists will say that and not mean it. Charlie Kirk had the opportunity to actually talk to one who followed that step. And he asked him a question that threw people into a massive tizzy about the whole thing. And that question was, and he asked this atheist, was Hitler objectively evil? We are going to say yes because we believe in objective truth, objective goodness. Yes.
Well, again, we're told that God put
Mm-hmm.
the Ten Commandments and his laws within the heart and mind of every man.
Right. But to be
So
an
we know what is good and evil.
but to be an honest atheist, well, yeah, even an atheist will tell you that murder is wrong. But we're talking about objectively, without question, cannot be scrutinized. And the atheist told him no. I cannot believe in an objectiveness. I do, and he even continued saying, "Hey, I know Hitler was bad and that he was wrong, but I cannot list it as objective because I don't believe in objective clauses." This threw the crowd into a massive booze. Charlie Kirk had to get up and tell everyone to stop. He is being an honest atheist, and these are the kind of discussions you need to have. And
Exactly.
that's just fact of the matter. If you don't believe in objective morality, he was being honest. The dude was even uncomfortable admitting it. Okay, but these are the types of things you got to be able to be honest with people about. Like, for instance, if someone comes up and and tells you, "Oh, you know, abortion is healthcare." No, God told you before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. It's not a thing, it is a human. God has told you this. Does this make
Okay.
people uncomfortable? Yes. Is it truth of the Christian Bible, the truth of God? Yes. Is it going to make your life easy holding that stance? No, not by any metric. Jesus tells you people will come after you because you have acknowledged me. People will come after you. The life of a Christian is not supposed to be easy. It is often said, I don't know about other denominations, but it's often said in the Baptist church that I can verify. Let me point that out. I don't go to every church on the planet to hear their opinions, okay? If you're having an easy life with others who are not walking in faith with you, you might be doing something wrong.
Not might. You are doing something wrong.
Well, the reason that it's might because you can have the reason a lot of us say might is that you can have honest conversations with people who don't believe what you believe in, because our only job is to
They don't
bring
get
the word
violent,
of
at
God to
least.
them. Not We don't change hearts, Jesus changed hearts. Right, that's why we don't have a denomination listed here.
Yeah, we really don't. We're just kind of
Yeah, that's why we
this
don't.
is this is two dudes going, you know, I want to grow in my faith with God. All
Yeah,
right, let's do
that
this.
that's why we don't really deal with the denominations too much, because honestly, denominations are stupid. We have a book. I have mine folded out on here, and I have the Ethiopian translation up on screen for everybody. I know y'all can't see it because I have an avatar, but my Bible is right here. See?
And I've got two copies plus a PDF.
Right,
This is why I'm like, I'm sorry, they're not all order of importance. It's like, but they don't really jump around either if you're reading through them.
right.
Just there's emphasizing certain points more than others. Um, the Tower of Babel measurements. Um,
And that's fine. I'm not here to challenge your denomination or belief
yeah,
or
that's not our
religious
point.
structure.
We're
Culturally or
not here. We're
culturally
here
or
to again,
religiously, it doesn't. We're just here to talk about it. Yeah,
maybe and again, maybe grow in our faith with God, which
that's
is
right.
the point. And you know,
So
whether you wanna call him by his name or not, it's still feel
right,
weird.
right. Like we had
Growing
that
up.
discussion a couple of times too.
Yeah.
But
So, I mean, I'll do it, but, it doesn't mean I'm gonna go out of my way to do it either.
right, it's a difference of speaking casually versus speaking with reverence.
Yeah.
Right. But speaking of language and talking, we have the Tower of Babel.
Yeah.
And Tower of Babel is fascinating. Like, this is one of those moments when I first read the Bible where it's like God's just mad at you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, again, our own hubris, our
Mm-hmm.
now, I was noticing that the Ethiopian Bible didn't quite mention it quite a I mean, they're going over a lot of stuff.
Right.
No, that's over that's, too far.
Right. So the
It's the
Tower
first time he messed with Pharaoh.
so the families and the sons of Noah by generations uh divided in the earth after the flood. The earth was of one language. They were all descendants of
Well,
Noah's
it
sons.
one of them. Hold on. One of the translations does say that as they split into the 3, they each had their own Shem and, Japheth, and each of them had their own language, actually.
Well, I have a Hebrew translation note
I
from
know,
here.
I'm just saying
Is the
it kinda
Philistines and the Capharites, which is, this gives credit to what he's saying, did have their own dialect but kept their father's tongue. So it's kind of like how when it refers to dialect, the way I'm saying it is, yeah, us and most of Europe speak English, but don't put us next to each other because it doesn't sound the same.
well, I mean, you get a little bit German kinda sounds like English, and
Yeah, they're
actually,
both
we've
guttural
a lot of
tongues.
German influence in English, an argument to be made about the father language of English would be German. Um,
I think more
there's
directly it'd be
arguments,
Gaelic.
but it draws from German,
Yeah,
again, Holy Roman Empire.
right.
Um, Japheth, what does he give us? He gives us, Gomor, Magog. The only time, other than Revelations that Magog is mentioned,
Right.
uh, Madi, where you've got yeah, again, you've got, like, Nimrod, and we know about him and a few of the others.
Right.
Javan, Tubal, Meshach, and yes, I know I'm probably butchering these, but American. And Tiras, and then the sons of Gomer. Yeah, yeah, they go on and they go on, and I'm just pointing out that Magog, there is no sons mentioned for Magog except until you get to Revelations.
Right.
And again, that's why it's like it kind of jumps some, but you also have to have some knowledge and da da da. I feel insane reading this sometimes.
um but yeah, so it's going through, so they came together, they made bricks, burned them thoroughly. These are believed to be what's called sun bricks, by the way.
It was
uh
yeah, yeah. There's some. They were. Who mentioned it? Fire. Well, they're fired here.
mm-hmm.
203 bricks was the breadth, and the height was 5,443 cubits
Yep.
and 2 palms.
Palms is a
Yeah, I can't help
literal
it, they
measurement
measured in hands.
yeah, I was about to say that's a literal measurement translation. The palm was a palm of the eldest man, to be specific. All
Yeah.
right. So they come to build a city and a tower whose
Thank
tops
goodness
could
for
reach
feet.
the uh and make a name for themselves, lest we scatter abroad on the surface of the whole earth. Uh, God came down to see the city tower which the children of men had built. Behold, they are one people. They have one language. This is what they begin to do. Now, nothing will be withheld from them, which they intend to do. Come, let's go down and confuse their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them abroad, therefore, on the surface of all the earth. They stopped building the city. Now, a lot of people, uh, especially non-Christians who haven't actually read the Bible, this is a confusing point of contention for them. I should change that color. I'll worry about that later. Um, well, why would they do that? Well, look at the
Um,
technology they had, and remember God had the covenant to not destroy the world with water, and these people are just reforming. Now, again, we know the lifespans were longer, but that was coming to an end. The average lifespan at this point was about 500, 600 years or so. The lifespans were shortening to where God had ordained that a natural life shouldn't be more than 120 years. For them to come together like this to try to build the Tower of Babel to reach the heavens is the theological studies showing, the hubris of man, like, oh, we can reach, the heavens. Even if they could, they were not ready for such a thing. Remember that God told them to multiply throughout the earth and replenish the earth. Having them congregate here would go opposing to God's plan, which was, to, you know, have man throughout the world, not isolated in one location. And there's
okay.
also the disrespect of, trying to, reach up to God's level.
Well, yeah, and here, let's see. I was looking. Okay, behold, the children of man have become evil through the wicked. This is Ethiopian. Um, it's saying, sorry. Behold, the children of man have become evil through the wicked purpose of building for themselves a city and a tower in the land of Shinar.
Hmm.
Um, and then you've got the New King James, which pretty much reflects the Greek saying. They said to one another, "Come, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly." They had the brick for stone, um, so again, fire. They used tar for mortar, and they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower that reaches the sky, and let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered abroad on the surface of the whole earth." King James says pretty much the same thing.
Hmm.
So yeah, they wanted to build it somewhere. I had heard it was more of not just the sky, but they wanted to. Well, I think King James actually says heaven.
Yes, the old King James version says reach the heaven.
Yeah, yeah. Reach the heavens. Let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered over the whole earth. So yeah, they were trying to actually get to where they could meet God. And the last
Hmm.
time somebody tried to meet God, he fell.
Yes.
Um,
So,
and
and
that's
it,
when God says, "You know what? Let's just come down and confuse them." And they pretty much stayed in Sinar, because that's why I was pointing out earlier that there were already individual languages developing. But this is why, to some degree, those in Babylon had more than one language.
yes. So it shows that, the Lord scattered them abroad of the surface of all the earth. This is the history of the generations of Shem. So again, we have a lot of genealogy coming up. But the important thing I want to highlight here is, remember that right before Noah, God had declared the shortening of the life of man, for
Here it
we are
is.
of flesh. And as you can see here, those numbers
The,
start getting real low in comparison to what they were.
the also, The King James does says it's he confuses the languages of all the earth at this time, not just those in Babel.
Yeah,
But
it does say all the earth.
here, because of the way that they're already, when they said earlier that when they dispersed, the children of Noah dispersed, and his grandchildren, they already started speaking their own languages,
Mm-hmm.
and therefore the people of Shinar got even more confused and ended up. He doesn't really like Babel, does he?
No.
I don't think he does. I wonder why.
Which is kind of interesting because think about like America today. Like so many languages are spoken here.
Oh, I think I am being paged. I apologize.
Go for it. So while he does that, I'm going to scroll back up here because there's a couple of points I wanted to touch on. Therefore, its name was called Babel because the Lord had confused all languages of all the earth. From there, the Lord scattered them abroad to the surface of all the earth. Just for some historical pokiness, while DNL has stepped out, he has to take care of a couple of things. It is interesting to note that historically speaking, this is after the flood. Yet all corners of the earth have a story of a great flood. I just wanted to point out that's an interesting prospect on that note. This is the like I said, the other translation. You're going to see God's name listed a lot. You're not going to hear me say it a lot. Uh, and it's just the way it is. But while he's out, our plans for next week, we plan on going over the call of Abram. Let's see, it was at chapter 12 here. And the reason is Abram's story is quite long. And as you see, we haven't really even got through Exodus yet. We haven't even touched Exodus. We're still like a few pages, 8 pages into Genesis by my study Bible's count. But no, so remember, God was talking about, because our sins, they make God's heart hurt, because we hurt His feelings. Uh, you know, our lifespan started shortening. He ordained that, as flesh, we shall not live over 150 years naturally. Uh, so as you can see, 30 years and became a father of ever. You have your 400 years after becoming the father of ever and becoming the father of more sons and daughters. 34 years and becoming the father of Peleg. Eber lived for 430 years after he became the father of Peleg. So when you look here, you're getting down into the 500s, the 5 and 600s. And again, this was the penalty, for our sins after being kicked out of the garden. Because we've said it, and I'm going to keep saying it. A lot of Genesis is going to be about that responsibility, accountability factor. Because we had this responsibility, and we rebelled against it. And you're going to see a lot of punishments being listed out. This very harsh time when you're going through the Bible, reading about the life and consequences of various people. And there's a whole lot to go through. This is also the time of covenants, God's presence on the earth. Like, for instance, God, closing the ark for Noah. And Noah, as far as I am currently aware, was the last person to live past 900. And this is another reason that the genealogies are important. Not only knowing where everybody went, but showing the responsibilities of the actions that we have taken as humans, for and against the covenants of God. Well, our sin, hurt the heart of God because we were rebelling against Him constantly. So He shortened our lifespans, and you can see it starting from Noah's sons. Because Noah was the one, not his sons. Noah was the ones who found. Noah was the one that found favor with the Lord. So you're going to see here, with the exception of I think it's two, that Noah is the last person to live to that 900 plus year mark. It starts with his sons with the diminished lifespan. And as you can see through the genealogy leading up to and after Babel, humans having more what we would consider today normal lifespans. And you're going to run into a lot of history bucking with this if you talk to other people about it. Like they'll tell you, oh, the average, oh, the average lifespan in medieval Europe was only 30. Yeah, yeah, okay, so let's take out the unfortunate
Violent
stillborn.
deaths, disease, and there is some mention about the corruption of the earth, which is weird.
Right,
Man's lifespan shortening.
right.
Can't remember where I read that offhand.
So
Reading
you
so much, so
have
yeah.
all of that to take into consideration. You know, Even though, like, for instance, the medieval times were bad, there was a lot of child death and starvation and stillborns. If you remove the stillborn effect from the, because that affects averages badly, people did live to their 60s. They weren't happy about it, but they did live to their 60s. All right. So remember, as we go through, you're going to see that lifespan from our rebellion and corruption from God, from that consequence. And you're going to see it laid out. And very few people come close to that mark after that. In fact, a couple of people that I could name off the top of my head that probably would have received a blessing from God to live the original intended life were just straight up picked up. Like, there's a couple of people in the Old Testament who do not die. God just comes out and is like, all right, you come with me, buddy.
Enoch being one of them.
Right. So
The only time in the New Testament would be John the Baptist.
yes. So keep in mind, action, consequence, responsibility is going to be the continual theme that you see throughout Genesis and the Exodus and Leviticus. These are very law books. You're gonna see a lot of it. Hi, I was recapping while you were out. Sorry.
Oh no, that's fine. That's fine. I have again. I apologize. I have a son, and
Now you have
yeah.
things to handle. No reason to apologize.
um, yeah, I was kind of looking over some of this. Da, 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 um, children of Noah enter the district of uh, Canaan and seize Palestine wrongfully. Haha.
Huh?
Boy, man. Um, which is still again Israel as we know it. Well, actually, Israel, it was bigger back then, but you
Yeah.
know, it included a good chunk of what is it, Sinai?
Yes.
So, which today belongs to Egypt. So, whatever.
Nope. But uh, yeah. On that note, Dean, I'm going to admit that's as far as I got with my notes.
All right, that's fine. I mean, here we've got the history of the patriarchy of Renda Abram,
Mm-hmm.
Tower of Babel, promise to Abram. So, Terah's descendants. Yeah, yeah, more genealogy, more genealogy. And, again, why are we going over the Old Testament? Because it's good to have a bit of history when Jesus does things like you need to observe the old laws and commandments because they still apply.
Yep.
So, well, what were these? Well, we got to go through the old stories too. And again, so eventually we'll get to the New Testament. It's going to take a little bit.
Oh, definitely. 100%.
Well, I mean, come on, before I we do our usual closing, I just want to say, yeah, we started this off of, oh, we'll just go over this stuff kind of quick, and even then, we were starting to get weighed down in the mire a little bit.
It's
I'm
going to
like,
take some
oh,
adjustment and practice, you know. I don't think it's a
yeah,
bad thing
yeah.
at all.
All right. So, do you want me to go first? Or do you want to go first? Actually, I should ask.
Um, well,
Uh,
we'll just do your prayer, but I do have a prayer request for anybody who is currently listening right now. We have a situation uh to a very dear friend of mine, also known as my boss. Yes, me and my boss are friends. Um, basically, just I'm gonna be I'm gonna be asking for a prayer of strength for my boss. His wife has been sick for the last 12 days, spiking like 103 fevers, and the doctors can't find anything wrong. And I know it's weighing on him, despite that he refuses to show it because he's as stubborn as a mule. I know we usually do the thing, but I know you're gonna do your prayer. But just so you know, that's what mine's gonna be about after you do yours.
well, that's fine.
But I just wanted to bring that up because I know he's fighting with it hard, and despite my offers to try to take weight off of his shoulders from work on it, stubborn old men. Not that I can blame him because I'm the same. But you know, I just want to let you know. I know I've been talking about doing the biker's prayer, but just know that's what I'm going to be doing today at the end of this.
Okay.
And I do have your
So,
zaps loaded and ready to go too.
okay. So, this is the Prayer of Manassas is recognized as Judeo-canonical scripture by the Greek Orthodox, Russian Orthodox churches. It is included in an appendix of the Latin Vulgate Bible, and so it's King Judah. This is the book, the Prayer of Manassas uh, of King Judah when he was held captive in Babylon. O Lord Almighty in heaven, God our Father, uh, God of our fathers Abram, Isaac, and Jacob, and of their righteous offspring, you who have made heaven and earth with all their order, who have bound the seas by the word of your commandments, who have shut up the deep and sealed it by your terrible and glorious name, whom all things fear, yes, tremble before your power, for the majesty of your glory can't be uh, borne, and the anger of your threatening towards sinners is unbearable. Your merciful promise is unmeasurable and unsearchable. For you are the Lord Most High, of the great compassion, patient and abundant in mercy, and re- uh, and reliant to human suffering. You, O Lord, according to your great goodness, have promised repentance and forgiveness to those who have sinned against you. Of your infinite mercies, you have appointed repentance to sinners that may be saved. You therefore, O Lord, who are the God of the just, have not appointed repentance to the just, to Abram, Isaac, and Jacob, which have not sinned against you, but you have appointed repentance to me, a sinner. For I have sinned more than the number of sands in the sea. My transgressions are multiplied. O Lord, my transgressions are multiplied, and I am not worthy to behold and see the heights of heaven for the multitude of my iniquities. I am bound down with many iron bands, so that I can't lift my head. by reason of my sin. Neither have I any relief, for I have provoked your wrath and done which is evil against you. I didn't do your will, neither do I keep your commandments. I have I have set up abominations, and I have multiplied detestable things. Now therefore I bow the knee of my heart, asking for your grace. I have sinned, O Lord, I have sinned, and I acknowledge my iniquities. But I humbly ask, forgive me. O Lord, forgive me, and please don't destroy me with my iniquities. Don't be angry with me forever by, by reserving evil for me. Don't condemn me into the lower parts of the earth, for you, O Lord, are the God of those who repent. In me you will show all of your goodness, for you will save me, even though I am unworthy, according to your great mercy. Then I will praise you forever, all the days of my life. For all the army of heaven sings your praise, and yours is the glory forever and ever. Amen.
Amen. I popped in the chat. I asked for a prayer request. I was going to give that a minute. I am going to go ahead and start mine. If somebody types something up, I'm just going to include them on the fly on it. Dear Father, who art thou in heaven, hallowed be thy name. I ask upon you, I want to lift up my friend, my boss, my coworker. We are live, so I shall not speak his name, but in your infinite wisdom and your and the deepest of hearts, I know you know who we speak of today. Lord, we know that you never give somebody more than they can handle, but I ask of you, please allow the knowledge to be inscribed upon his heart that he is surrounded by people who are willing to take the weight. If it is work related, Lord, or there's something that I can do to take that weight off his shoulders, I ask you to please place it on me. He is a good man surrounded by his family. May you put upon the hearts of those to help and help them move towards helping a man that you put in community and lives that help build them up instead of tear them down. We know that your love is great, and I ask you, please, shatter the heart of a stubborn, proud man that you put before many to allow him to acknowledge that we are here for him. I ask that you impress upon his weight, that it may be shared, that though you raised and allowed a man that to stand tall to guide others, that he too can lean when he needs to lean. And if, Lord, you wish for me or anyone around him to take upon that weight, even if it's only just allow him to lean, for I know the troubles that I cannot announce over a broad platform. You know the weights and you know the pain that he is walking through. And I ask that any voices being shared uplift him. And even if, again, even if it's just to lean on another for a brief moment, I ask that you impress that it's okay. You raise a very strong and old school man who, you believe to have the strength of self, for that is what you impress, that we use our talents and our strength for you, and knowing that, you put us as men on this planet to be the pillars and strength that protect others around them. Please extend and impress that others are there to stand with him. I know that he is mentally suffering a lot, for you put a man of love on this planet who deeply loves his wife. I watch this man you put before everybody here come to work without sleep because he takes care of so many others. So while I do not pray to you much, Lord, I do ask, please put your hand upon this man. And it is in your name we pray, and that may your will still be done. Amen.
Amen. Okay. So that is tonight's show. And join us next week when we'll be going over Abraham. So
I assume this is where you want the slider.
um yeah, go ahead and I'm professional amateurs, amateur professionals. Go ahead and with all right, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and the shows I usually do, or we're gonna attempt to. I end all my other shows this way. Taps. Why? Because, well, if you ever read the words to taps, you'd know why. Yes, it came with words. A little bit of history of taps given by John Wayne. Yes, it is real John Wayne, not AI. And then, of course, taps is performed by the United States Marine Corps. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and this show, as I usually do my other shows, say God bless you. God be with you. God bless America. God bless and protect our troops. And that does include the ICE agents. And with that, cue up the slide, sir.
It was July in Virginia. The scent of the dogwood and the laurel lay heavy on the land, while the burgeoning fruit of the peach and the apple marked the full sway of summer. For 7 faithful days, the trees, the flowers, yes, the very ground itself, had shuddered under the roar of cannon, bark of howitzers, and the crackling of a legion of rifles. Now all was silent. Sledgehammer blows of Robert E. Lee and Stonewall Jackson had mauled the Army of the Potomac, and yet that army was not destroyed. 7,000 men had fallen in that dreadful week, and the savagery of the conflict was grimly evident in the river of wounded that wound through the green hills. Now a new sound drifted in the soft evening sky. For Colonel Dan Butterfield, a courageous and able soldier, was also a man of music. To honor his fallen comrades, he had composed a simple and heart-rending melody. On July 2nd, in the year of 1862, its strains floated over the graves that scarred the dark Virginia earth. It has been more than 100 years since that sound was born, but those notes have never died away. Every night of the year, throughout the world, fighting men of America from the north and the south, the east and the west, close their eyes and sleep to its call. And in each of their hearts, there glows a fierce surge of pride.
Okay. I think I killed it. Yeah. Squirrel.